Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk faster, faster, faster. Gotta talk fast. Yeah, it's called pegging, and it's heterosexual. I'm right, by the way. That's not like a joke where it's wrong.
I know. I mean, look, if God didn't want us to peg, he wouldn't put the G spot in the fucking butt, okay?
What's the
welcome?
Do it.
Welcome to an oral review of Archie comic Sonic the Hedgehog, acknowledging that the language of politics is extremely confusing, frustrating, and pedantic. Most of the time, people don't know what they're talking about, or worse, they know too much about what they're talking about and don't say anything at all. But knowing how to navigate and adapt that language to different people without totally compromising your values is a very useful skill. I'm Nick, and except for this intro, I wrote the script.
And I'm Dominic, and except for this intro, I haven't read any of today's script.
Sorry for the late episodes. Sorry, I've been very, very busy with work, and I have not been able to write. Luckily, Dominic has really stepped up and did some live streams for us on the channel. We appreciate that, Dominic. Great job.
That was a lot. They were a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It takes a lot out of me because I'm going deep back into like my college days, learning music theory and all that stuff, and applying it.
And he was just high and drunk the entire time, so he's really reaching.
High and drunk on knowledge, like that music theory.
In theory, he was drunk and high.
Yeah. Look, I spent tens of thousands of dollars on that degree, so someone's gonna learn from it, right?
Hey, man, I like that threat. It's a good threat. Let's teach our audience music theory.
Or else.
Yeah, right? I shouldn't say this out loud, but like that should be another thing, is just at the end of every episode, you just teach me something new.
That's kind of like the intro. Like, for instance, like speaking of the intro, I was mostly coming at that from like the leftist infighting that's very prevalent always. Like how, I'm a social democrat. Oh, well, are you a democratic socialist? And then like proceed to fight for 3 hours while a fascist shoots both of you. That is basically what has been happening for the longest time. It had an uptick in the Trump years because, Trump. And then here in 2025, in the second Trump administration, it is once again taking root. But you can also extrapolate from that intro, like, we live in Chicagoland, and there is obviously it's a very quote unquote blue, area, but there's still a lot of conservatives, trademarked, period. But also there's just conservative thought in general where it's like, hey, maybe someone really hates Trump, but they are totally in love with the police and they trust them no matter what. Learning how to adapt to different segments of the political spectrum while talking to people without being, finger wagging, talking to them about the revolution or whatever the whole time, being able to approach that at different levels and just be approachable can be very helpful to actually making a difference and reaching out and making actual change. So there's that aspect as well.
Yeah.
Nick's tired, I am educated, so
this is gonna be a rough episode for me. I worked like 10 days straight or something, or 11 days.
Rough.
I don't know.
He was giving me updates throughout the week. Yeah,
and then yesterday was technically my first day off, and I tried writing an episode, and I just didn't. And after I finally acknowledged that I wasn't gonna be able to write it, I went and watched the new Mission Impossible, which I don't know. I mean, my very quick review of the new Mission Impossible, because I know everyone cares, is I personally adore it. I think it's a brilliant movie. If you were going to ask me if that was not a Tom Cruise movie and if that was not a Mission Impossible movie, would I still have that opinion? My answer is maybe.
One of those.
Because I love Tom Cruise and I love all of his movies. It's very anime. This might sell you, Dominic.
Who's the director?
It's still McCurry. I think it's the guy filming it, the cinematographer. I think he is like very anime with how he like
Did he do
with his
Creed?
movements and stuff. No.
Because you were talking to me about that, how Coogler is
Michael
a
B.
big
Jordan
anime
was
guy.
very
Oh, yeah.
anime fan, and he was straight up like, yeah, I just lifted a lot of shit from anime and did that in my movie. No, because like McCreary had a different cinematographer in the other movies, and had the same editor for the last 4 movies. So I don't think it was the editing, and I don't think it was the direction. I think it was mainly the cinematographer. And there's just some very you might have to edit this down so it's more coherent, but I honestly think Mission Impossible, the new one, is like Metal Gear Solid 2. Or I shouldn't say Metal Gear Solid 2, because Metal Gear Solid 2 is my favorite video game of all time. It is a worse version of Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
But like it's very much lifting a lot of ideas from like the series. I don't know if it's true or not, if they did, but it feels the core concept of the movie is that there's an AI that is trying to control the world, and they're trying to go up against a god, essentially. And so like the plot itself is already very anime, because they're essentially trying to kill a god. It's a JRPG.
Is this just person of interest? Is this?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's very person of interest. That's why I'm like, I love this movie, but I acknowledge that it might not be everyone's cup of tea. And,
so part 2 opens with 9/11.
Yeah, 9/11 was the most important thing that happened in Mission Impossible. It's the one time Tom Cruise failed.
Yeah, it was flashback to the first Mission Impossible or whatever, or where it's like a de-aged Tom Cruise and he was there at 9/11.
Well, it's funny you say flashback, because they do. See, you get me talking about Mission Impossible, it wakes me up. I'm starting to feel the energy.
There we go.
You start saying flashbacks, and it's very interesting because there's a lot of flashbacks in this movie, because it's like the very last movie, and they're like, this is a reference to like 1. This is a reference to 3. Sure. This is a reference to 2.
Was that coherent? Was that cogent, or was that kind of forced?
If that specific style and how they did it felt anime to me. And so to me, it feels forced, because I don't like when they do it in anime. I don't like it when, but like, there's certain ways you can do it.
Okay.
But it feels like every time something happened, they're like, oh yeah, the rabbit's foot. And then like they flash back to stealing it in 3. And it's like,
really?
Okay, dude.
Okay. It's because I know in James Bond's Spectre, the second to last Daniel Craig one, they tried to do a big like wrap up of everything, where it was like, hey, everything is connected from the beginning of the Daniel Craig James Bond years, but it was kind of forced, on top of just Spectre being a lackluster movie. So they were like, we can't end on this. We got to do No Time to Die. And then they did No Time to Die. And it was a lot better.
I haven't seen Spectre or No Time to Die, so I gotta watch those. So yeah, my opinion is, if you liked the last Mission Impossible movie, then 100% see it, because it's just more of the same.
You'll also
like the last Mission Impossible. Yeah,
Mission
exactly.
Impossible movie.
If you didn't like the last Mission Impossible movie, don't see this movie. And if you're indifferent, I'd wait until it's on streaming and then watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Let's talk. Hey, let's pivot gears to the real Mission Impossible, which is getting through all of these Sonic comics.
Good. I'm proud of you. That was good.
We are reading Archie Comics Sonic the Hedgehog number 32, release, or rather cover date, March 1996. How old were you in 1996, Nick?
March 96. I am 4 years old.
I am 2 years old. Actually, like on the dot, I am 2 years old. I didn't know there was that big of a gap. I thought it was a lot closer.
Our age?
Yeah.
No.
Right,
I'm so much older than you. I'm an old man.
Blast from the Past, Part 1. Written by Angelo De Cesare and penciled by Art McWhinney. We open on the freedom fighters in a cold, icy desert. They are ice climbing when they are suddenly ambushed by some SWAT bots. All the freedom fighters make it up the cliff except one, Sally. A SWAT bot with his robotic precision aim shot at the rope that Sally was using to climb up the mountain. The rope gets blasted, and Sally is now untethered and falling to her certain doom. Tails flies under her, swoops her up, and flies Sally to safety. The team starts running away, with Sonic asking how on earth the SWAT bots found them. Just then, Sonic notices a robot dog with them. They tracked us with a robo-dog? Robo-dog? Why, that's Mutsky! Buns chimes in asking if Sonic knows the robot dog. Mutsky is my dog, Bunny. He was captured and roboticized at the same time as my Uncle Chuck. He was my best friend and the only dog that I liked better than a chili dog. He even saved my life once. Robot Mutsky is charging the freedom fighters when Sonic holds up his hand like Neo stopping bullets in the Matrix. Mutsky, stop. It's me. Mutsky, stop. It's me, Sonic. Do you remember? I have my other arm behind like I imagine it's not on the panel, but I imagine for our listeners, Sonic is like fighting Mutsky while saying this, and he's got
he has like sunglasses just like up here, and he's got a trench coat.
In the climax of the first Matrix movie where Neo does
and the Wachowski sisters read this and they were like, we're stealing this.
My favorite shot in like probably one of my favorite shots in all of film history, like sequences, is Neo doing the fucking one arm behind his back and just Agent Smith, like owning Agent Smith with one arm. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Mutsky, stop! It's me, Sonic! Don't you remember? Mutsky lets out a robotic bark and stops in his tracks. The two lock eyes, and Mutsky turns around and leaves with the other SWAT bots, who have stopped their pursuit for some reason. The freedom fighters continue onward to find Uncle Chuck. The freedom fighters are shocked to see him. I called off that bot attack, Sonic. You forgot? Did you forget the Sean Connery voice that we agreed on for Uncle Chuck?
I was expecting like a Scrooge McDuck or something, or something like something rich, you know?
Yeah. Though my mind is no longer under Robotnik's control, I still have access to some of his secret codes and equipment. But I'm afraid the shame can't be shed for poor Mutsky's mind. He's still a bot, Sonic, and since he knows your scent better than anyone, he's your most dangerous foe. Sonic ignores Uncle Chuck's warnings, saying that he'd never believe that about Mutsky. Antoine quickly tries to rally the troops and continue their trek before the SWAT bots return. Antoine starts marching and accidentally steps off a cliff, tumbling hundreds of feet. He safely lands in a pile of snow, but before him is a large caveman encased in ice. The caveman is holding a club and a paintbrush. He looks like a very stereotypical caveman, but with pointy ears, almost resembling a bat. The rest of the freedom fighters hop down and start examining the caveman. His scientific name is Mobus Orisdae sapiens. I'm getting Mondo bad vibes from this. We should leave. I had the same reaction when I read that. I'm getting Mondo bad vibes from this. We should leave him where we found him. Rotor, seeing an opportunity to play God, says this. Chuck, I disagree, Sonic. It's possible that the ice preserved the Mobian. I think the humane thing to do is to take him back to Knothole and try to revive him. End of part 1.
Can I just get like a real good delivery of Mondo bad in Sonic's voice?
In Sonic's voice?
Yeah.
That line or just Mondo bad?
Just Mondo bad.
Mondo bad.
Yeah, okay. We could use that for something. We could. That's just. I'm gonna use that for something. I don't know what. Yeah. Yeah, that's too good.
If we ever do streams again, like do streams and you like the alerts.
Oh, we will. That's in our future.
I will sit down and record that.
Well, I have a soundboard, and I'm like, I kind of just want to. There's not much to say in this first issue. There's a few things I want to.
There's a couple things, but go ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple things. The very first thing, I think it's a stretch to look at that dog and think that's Mutsky.
I agree.
That dog looks nothing like Mutsky. With Uncle Chuck, it makes sense because he looks exactly the same, down to he has a robotic mustache. Mutsky, like human form, the animal form of Mutsky is this cute, lovable looking like yellow dog with some brown hair, almost like golden retriever-esque. And then definitely a mutt, but you know what I mean. It has to be a mutt. His name's Mutsky. And then this dog is literally silver and blue and looks nothing like him. So
no,
I don't know
like,
how he jumped to that conclusion.
Yeah, it's contrived in that way.
I think the freedom fighters are too, we'll say, chill about the fact that Uncle Chuck just happened to be there.
Yeah, that was kind of weird because he's not supposed to be in the field. He is definitely more of a...
Well, and they were surprised he was there.
Yeah, also that. So, like, what?
Yeah, that came out of left field for me. And you know what I'm going to say? When he says, but I'm afraid the same can't be said for poor Mutsky, I'm just going to say Uncle Chuck looks kind of evil in that panel.
He does. I don't know why he's glowing so much. I don't know what that is.
He's literally glowing. And he's got kind of some evil eyes going on. So maybe his consciousness isn't all that, I'm just saying. Yeah. He's showing up randomly where the freedom fighters are without like notice. And he apparently has control of the SWAT bots because he was able to make them go away. I'm just saying maybe Uncle Chuck is a spy.
He is compromised on a cellular level. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like holistically, he is compromised. So I don't understand. Look, I do understand why Sonic was quick to, because that is a common weakness is loved ones and family. So I get that. But the lack of any kind of vetting or any kind of no one going, hold up, do we trust Uncle Chuck? Because this is the first time. Bunny is a special case because her mind was never fully transformed. It was just the limbs and torso.
We technically don't know that. She might have a robot brain.
I think in the issue, this might be getting too into the weeds.
Was her head sticking out the entire time?
I think it was. I would have to double check that.
Saying that, I think I agree. I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah. I think that's what I can confirm in the edit, but I think that's what it was. Now, they knowing this comic, they could easily retcon that, but
yeah, of course.
For the most part, Bunny, I feel safe about. Uncle Chuck, Mondo bad vibes right now. Mondo
bad. Yeah, that's, and then my last thing is just I like Rotor's quickness to just be like, let's just unfreeze this dude and see what happens.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy.
Maybe he's got like a disease or something that will spread.
First and foremost, that. Second of all,
or they have a disease that will kill the caveman.
Yes, that is actually the more likely thing to happen. Well, maybe not. I actually don't know, but it's dangerous either way, and the plot of many science fiction movies. But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I love it. That's Rotor's pretty OG. He's pretty legit.
You know what? He's done that before though, right? Where he's just reckless with his science. Yeah.
I can't think of anything right off the bat, but yeah, I think so.
And I kind of appreciate that as a character trait, because if that is consistent, which it feels like it's consistent, that's kind of a cool thing about Rotor. I like that. Agreed. That's like his weakness. And I'm cool. Like that's a cool character thing that I appreciate.
Yeah. And I mean, people need weaknesses. So
yes. Cliffhanger, the movie came out in 1993. Sorry, Sylvester Stallone. And I don't think it's emphasized enough just how influential that opening scene is, because I used to see it all the time, referenced all the time in a lot of other media, including like, I think it was in the second Naked Gun movie, if not the third. But I distinctly remember that. And it's been parodied a lot because there's that scene of Sylvester Stallone.
The opening scene of Cliffhanger, if you haven't seen it, it's a banger. I mean, Cliffhanger is just a banger, but the opening scene is definitely the thing you want to watch from that movie.
I would need to watch it again, but I remember that scene specifically. But
hey, man, I have it. You can borrow it. whenever I get back from Houston.
There we go. Blast from the Past, Part 2. We are in Knothole Village. Rotor has taken a glaciator from Robotnik, a device that shoots a ray and turns everything into ice. He has reversed the ray to melt all the ice around the caveman, who has been given the nickname Moby. This process is going to take 48 hours, a little slow for Sonic. He's getting ready to leave for the day to pass some time when he accidentally bumps into the glaciator, boosting the firepower of the device, instantly melting the ice around the caveman. The caveman moves. He opens his mouth and lets out a yell and destroys the glaciator, ensuring he'll never be put into an ice prison ever again. Moby the caveman runs outside, swinging his club at everything and everyone. Buns quickly grabs the caveman with one arm and puts him up in a tree, once again proving she's the strongest freedom fighter. The freedom fighters are trying to figure out what to do with the caveman stuck in the tree when Rotor steps up and says, "Moby is way out of place in our modern world. It's gotta be a total shock to him. Give him a chance to adjust and I bet you'll see another side of Moby." Well, now wait. Moby was holding a paintbrush when we found him. Maybe he's one of those cave painters, and maybe art is the way to communicate with him. I'll be right back. Buns runs off and returns with paint supplies. She paints a picture of Buns, Sonic, and Moby holding hands. "Look here, sugar. I drew this symbol for friendship. Understand? We all just want to be your friends." Moby grabs the drawing. He was reminded of his old family. He had a partner, a child, and a dog. Sadness flashes across Moby's face, and he runs off into the great forest of Knothole. Rotor hypothesizes that Moby was going back to the cave where the freedom fighters originally found him. Sonic chases after him since he's the fastest dude in town. End of Part 2.
I think it's really dumb that they felt the need to establish that the caveman is a cave painter, and that's the way to communicate with him, because art is a universal language, and so is music. It's the one thing we don't need to translate between people.
It's the one thing we know that cavemen knew how to do.
Yeah, right?
We have the proof that they did that shit in caves. Out of everything else that we've implied, the painting is the one thing we actually have concrete evidence of that we know that they can do.
Yeah, absolutely insane. That was my huge call out on this one.
I also don't understand why we needed this whole rigmarole about why it's like, hey, the glaciator takes 48 hours to do. Oops, I bumped it. Now it happened instantaneously. Like, what was just have it do it instantaneously?
I think it's just adding to the idea that Sonic is careless. I'm okay with that.
Okay, sure.
It's just adding more character to Sonic. I support it.
I guess so. I don't think it was necessary, but I can see that point.
Yeah, and again, I'm glad that Buns is kind of a central character, kind of on this one. Maybe not central, but she's doing stuff in this one. She comes up with the plan. She puts the caveman up in the tree. Like, this is the first time in a very long time where I feel like Buns has been useful, which makes me happy because we need more of that.
Yeah, the last time it was her being chased down by that bus driven by Robotnik.
Oh, yeah.
So that wasn't too long ago, but it's enough where it's like, because she's been physically absent, completely absent in some other issues, and it just feels weird. Anyway, we've hammered that point a lot in previous episodes, but definitely acknowledging it that she's not always muscle. Like, she's communicating through art, and that's really cool because she is canonically a hairstylist as well. That's her other side of her, which I think is interesting. It's like, okay, she's artistic, but also the strongest mother effer in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that as well. How do we just feel about the setup so far for the cavemans? Like, do you think
it's
this
fine.
is? Yeah.
It's I mean, we'll talk about it more as a whole after the next one, I think. But it's fine. It's very cliched, but I'm like, I don't know. It's exactly what I expect from one of these kind of Looney Tunes-esque issues. So
it feels like that. Yeah, I can't pinpoint an example right now, but I feel like thawing a caveman out of ice and you have a caveman out of time feels strangely familiar as an exact plot in other cartoons.
I'm sure it was done in like Looney Tunes. I've definitely seen it in many things. So
the first thing I can remember is Dexter's Lab, actually. Dexter's Laboratory. Sure. I don't know if you watched it. There was that. Actually, that one was done really well, where it's the episode of Dexter in his hubris is like, I want to find all the great inventors. Well, who's the first inventor? Oh, caveman. They invented fire. And then just brings a caveman to present day. And the caveman properly is like, what the shit? And then just starts hitting everything because it's a caveman. And I enjoyed that.
Hell yeah.
There we go. Blast from the Past, Part 3. Sonic is dashing all over, looking for Moby when he stumbles upon him, surrounded by SWAT bots. Sonic, after 31 issues of using the Sonic Spin to get out of every situation, tries a new move. He puts his arms out and starts spinning in place like a helicopter blade. He spins so fast, he makes a tornado, picking up all the SWAT bots and throwing them far away. However, all his spinning has made him dizzy, and he accidentally crashes into a wall, knocking him out. As he's knocked out, a familiar face walks up. It's Mutsky. Mutsky starts running towards Sonic. Moby, seeing this from afar, quickly grabs a rope, ties it to a tree, and swings towards Sonic, rescuing him, much like Tarzan would. Mutsky was running so fast, he runs straight into a wall, knocking himself out. Moby finds a large rock that he's going to smash on Mutsky's head when Sonic wakes up and tells him to stop. Sonic then grabs a stick and draws an image of Mutsky and himself in the ground, trying to show friendship between the two. Moby picks up Mutsky and hands him to Sonic. We cut back to Knothole, where Uncle Chuck was able to restore Mutsky's consciousness. Uncle Chuck then walks up to Moby. As for you, my prehistoric friend, I can't send you back in time, but I can make our world a bit more familiar to you. We cut to a jungle. Not even Robotnik and his bots know about this Mobian jungle. The environment's too harsh for modern folks, but you should find it just like home, Moby. Moby is ecstatic. Everyone begins to say their goodbyes when Sonic tells Mutsky to give him his paw. Mutsky detaches his paw and everyone laughs in unison. The end.
So, a few things. How does Uncle Chuck doesn't know what kind of fucking environment this caveman knows as his home? He can't communicate that. He doesn't know. The caveman seems like he's happy, but maybe he's just happy because he's seeing shit he's never seen before, and he's like, "This is some cool shit." So fuck off, Uncle Chuck. Also, if this is an area where Robotnik doesn't know about, why don't they set up Knothole Village here?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like that should be the hot new place.
Yeah. And also, how does Uncle Chuck know about this? Like, what is he doing in his what is Uncle Chuck doing? How does he know about this?
A lot of these plot points are just kind of made up and pulled out of people's asses. I'm just saying Uncle Chuck knows a lot of things he shouldn't know. That might be giving them too much credit, but going along that logic, I concur. I agree. But this issue feels so floaty. It feels so weightless, which sucks because Mutsky is another Uncle Chuck. That's the whole point of both Mutsky and Uncle Chuck.
It's not two Uncle Chucks. It's just Mutsky.
Sorry. What I'm trying to say is,
I'm being a dick.
Okay, you're being an asshole. Good. Is that the template? You sold it very well. The template of these two characters is the same, which is that they are emotional anchors for Sonic, which we've established before in the previous episodes of the show. But for Mutsky, again, it feels just as even more weightless than when Uncle Chuck came back, right? And it's like this caveman situation dominated so much of this whole storyline that I didn't really get a lot of whatever here, and it's very strange. Like Tarzan didn't come out until 1999. George of the Jungle didn't come out until 1997.
I mean, Tarzan came out in the 10s,
You're correct.
20s.
You're correct. The movie didn't come out until 1999. So it's like we're not anywhere near a resurgence of
Disney movie.
Yes,
So-
you're right. Didn't come out anywhere close back to prevalence. This story of a caveman lost in time. It does not check out at all.
But it's just such a famous story. And I don't consider this a Tarzan story, like in any way, shape, or form.
Sure, but even then, just the concept. You're right. Just the concept of jungle swinging caveman just comes out of nowhere. That's all I'm trying to say. And
Sure.
It's weird. It's weird that they would go this direction for the purposes of bringing Mutsky back. I don't get it.
What I'm gonna say very quickly is it looks like there was a Tarzan TV series in the 60s.
Sure.
It looks like there was a Tarzan series on air right now.
Like 2025.
No, 91 through 95.
Okay, then you know what? Maybe they pick every now and then. I like it because we had established just a while ago that Ken, especially, but a lot of the other script writers, they take a lot of things from current, like the popular culture of that time, of like the time that they're writing in, which is the 90s, and we've noticed that pattern. So maybe that's it. Who knows?
And then I just found out about a made-for-TV movie that came out in 1989 that I need to see called Tarzan in Manhattan. Tarzan goes to New York to rescue the chimp cheetah, who has been captured by an evil animal experimenter. There, he teams up with Jane, a cab driver and daughter of an ex-cop private eye. This sounds perfect. I need to see this.
So there's all that. The point I'm trying to make is that it's all. I hate to use the word contrived, but it really feels contrived in this instance. Like, where the fuck did that come from? It's weird, and maybe we'll see Moby again. Because they've established that Moby is in a safe place, that Moby can be useful.
It seems the other thing I was going to say, is the safe place that they decided to put him, which was in the remote area of a jungle, I guess. It seems like he should have just been put on Angel Island. That's a safe place.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. Yeah, the floating island, 100%. I concur.
That's
instead of making up this random thing.
Yeah, not Angel Island.
That's fine. But like it's this random place that's just pulled out of Chunkle Chuck's ass for no reason. I don't like that. Because
my gut says we never see Moby again, unless if they try doing some like Avengers Endgame shit where they're like, let's get every single minor character we've ever had to fight Robotnik.
Because they've already built up. I'm not saying you can't make new characters. That's absolutely not true at all. But you've built up such this vibrant universe, truly, that you can reuse them to give them more staying power, especially if you're going to use it as not a useless thing, but rather a throwaway thing. Right? Is this the same jungle that Princess Sally went on an excursion with during her miniseries? Maybe, because that was the other jungle environment. So who knows? But it seems to be just something that Uncle Chuck knows about.
It's clearly not, because Robotnik had a bunch of
Yes. You're right. You're right.
Something I'm realizing, and I don't know if it's the skill of the writers or what. It seems like the issues without Robotnik are a lot less interesting.
Yeah, which sucks because I enjoy when having new protagonists. I love Robotnik. We both love Robotnik, but
I mean, he's my favorite character. So.
Yes, agreed. But for a comic that stretches hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of issues for decades, I want to see other antagonists. I want, like, for instance, this is going to sound random, but Shrek. The Shrek movies?
Yeah, it does sound random.
Yeah. I'm so glad that it wasn't just Lord Farquaad for all 5 of those movies and the new one that's coming out. Well, maybe, I don't know. But for the movies that have been established, I'm so glad that it wasn't just him. Lord Farquaad was the first antagonist and then just was defeated. That's it. No more of him. Every other movie introduces someone new, and I think that's really cool.
I think that's how most movies work, right?
Not necessarily. A lot of the time, it's half and half. It's half and half, really, where it's a lot of the same. So for a story of this type, where it's very Saturday morning cartoon, it's just the same mother effers over and over again. That's what I'm basing it off of. So I should have said like, oh, G.I. Joe. It's just the same Cobra motherfuckers every single time, right? We don't get new threats. We don't get new antagonists.
You do.
Maybe specifically in the cartoon show.
Yeah. They had to sell toys, man. There's so many different antagonists. They're just all under the umbrella of like Cobra Commander or
Cobra.
something.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's the point. Okay, sorry. Okay, you're right. I agree with you. How cool would it have been? It's like, hey, it's not just Cobra. There's other politics. There's other people in the world. There's other cells. There's other antagonists. And I'm sure there are episodes of those, but an overwhelming majority of them came from Cobra. And it's like, hey, how cool would it be if we just had a random other fuck off terrorist group that was doing things?
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of G.I. Joe to talk about this intelligently, but I get the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, I just remember because I did watch a lot of G.I. Joe, and it was almost always Cobra. I watched a lot of the revival, and it was always almost Cobra. Andor. We haven't. I'm just referencing something we talked about off camera, but the Andor man. Oh man, they get it. They understand that shit. Anyway, moving on. You want to move on? Did you have any final points?
Okay. I don't have any final thoughts other than like it was a boring issue.
Whatever.
Like the best part about it was like someone came up with a plan that wasn't Sonic.
I agree. That is nice. All right, coming up next here, Prisoners. Knuckles Chaotix Prisoners. Script by Mike Gancernovich and Ken Penders, penciled by Ken Penders. We open on the Chaotix team, sans Knuckles, in complete darkness except for the exact spot they stand on, which seems to be lit by a spotlight. The team is trying to figure out what happened. The last thing they remember was fighting in the jungle with Knuckles. As they theorize, a voice booms overhead. Sorry to keep you in the dark, Charmy, but wait, this is the
unknown voice.
But it's the Australian, or do we not know that it's the Australian?
Yeah, I think it's the cricket guy.
It's the Australian. We know it's the Australian. Should I do the voice?
Yeah.
Okay. A voice booms overhead. Sort of keep you in the dark, Charmy, but I have my reasons. Don't fret, though. You've no need for Espio's vanishing act, or a show of Mighty's prodigious strength. All will be made clear. Vector notices a security camera and shouts out to it. We cut to inside the control room that we saw from The Hunt is On in Chaotic Special number 1. We see a shadow of someone wearing a cowboy hat or slouch hat and monitors watching the Chaotix crew. Huh, you seem to know an awful lot about us and about Knuckles, but we don't know you from squat. That's the way I like it, Vector. Still, if I will put your minds at ease, it's a problem which can readily be solved. A door opens, and the crew starts walking towards it. They find themselves in a futuristic corridor. They turn the corner and are met with the mysterious stranger. Everyone is in shock. To be continued.
Yeah, there's literally nothing to say. It's, until we know more.
But we kind of know already who it is, kind of, right? We know it's a cricket.
Well, yeah, because he teleported himself or something, and was it the chameleon that saw him or something?
Yeah, I don't know, but
and then he was just like, you weren't supposed to see me or something. It was dumb.
It should be Fang, the other Australian character. No, sorry, not the other Australian. We've had 3 Australian characters at this point. But it should be Fang. A lot of
Australian characters.
Yeah. But it should be Fang the Sniper or Knack the Weasel, which is the mercenary hired by Robotnik that got knocked out multiple times by Sonic and Knuckles. I don't know who it should be, but it's like, why did you need to make up a new Australian character? Well, what's the point? I don't get it. This is annoying, and it's not leading up to anything that I particularly enjoy, because everyone's shocked here. Everyone in Chaotix is shocked. I don't think we're going to get shocked, because who the hell could it possibly be? We've never seen a cricket Aussie character before. Yeah. I don't get it. So it's dumb. All right.
I agree.
Yeah, that's it. Let's just move the hell on. Tundra Road, Part 2, script by Ken Penders and penciled by Art Mahwini. Knothole's freedom-fighting walrus Rotor received a distress call from his family home in the frozen North Sea. Princess Sally gave him permission to investigate. He was shocked to discover a nefarious theme by Ivor Robotnik. But before Rotor could contact the freedom fighters, he was clubbed unconscious and sent to a cold, watery grave. Rotor awakens on an ice sheet. It seems that Celia, the seal from the displaced Arctic Mobians from Sonic issue number 26, saw Rotor sinking and rescued him. A reminder of what Celia looks like. French. I was fishing for a dinner when I saw you in the water and began to sink. I swam beneath you and pushed you back up to the surface. No offense, Mr. Rotor, but this is not the small task. When I reached the nearest ice floe, I tried to lift you without success. Luckily for us, the big boy was nearby. Augustus, the polar bear. Augustus was also a displaced Arctic Mobian. He looks like a polar bear. Rotor catches Celia up to speed, explaining the radio signals and explaining that Robotnik has hypnotized all the walruses in the Arctic. Augustus, Celia, and Rotor come up with a plan. We cut to inside Robotnik's lair, with all the walruses standing around, hypnotized. The SWAT bots bring in a giant pink horse. The SWAT bots bring up Robotnik on the video monitor to show him the offering. A tribute to you by the other Arctic creatures. They left it at the front door of this hidden fortress. Isn't it a nice horse? And here's a note to Ivo from the frozen Trojans. Robotnik gasps in horror. You fools! It's a trap! Augustus, Celia, and Rotor burst out of the Trojan horse, easily defeating the SWAT bots. Robotnik then commands the walruses to destroy our three heroes. Augustus quickly grabs Rotor and brings him outside. They are standing at the edge of the ice sheet, with the walruses coming to attack. Augustus jumps into the ocean and breaks the ice shelf into two pieces. One with Rotor just standing on it, the other with all of Rotor's friends, family, and villagers. The walruses are unable to complete the order, standing on the ice island, starting to float away. Rotor, quickly thinking, throws a tracking device onto their new home so that he'll be able to find them at a later date. Celia, Rotor, and Augustus watch as the hypnotized walruses float off into the sea. Rotor hops into his submarine and says his goodbyes to Augustus and Celia, vowing to return soon with a cure for his loved ones. End of part 2.
This is insane.
Yeah.
So they just made like a little ice island, ice boat. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
And there's these like hundreds of walruses packed in like sardines, and they're just floating away on this island.
You can't leave them. You can't just leave them.
If Rotor's leaving, he needs to come back like in a day at most, because like they need to eat.
Yeah,
they're animals.
They're gonna either die of starvation or dehydration, or just their muscles are gonna collapse in on themselves because they're just standing there.
Yeah, right.
Because the point is that they're disconnected from Robotnik's. I'm assuming the implication is that they're disconnected from Robotnik's hypnosis, but like they're just floating there.
I don't think they're disconnected. I think
they can't receive orders.
They just can't complete the order that they were given, and so. But like walruses can swim. That was the other thing that was confusing to me. So I'm like, that's kind of like, I don't know if you know this. That's kind of their thing. Is walruses swim a lot. I would say all the time, actually. So the fact that the moment they were on this floating island is not the terminology I should use specifically in this comic. As island started drifting away, I'm like, why are they just not hopping into the water? That's their thing. Unless
Robotnik made them so dumb that they can't even do that. which I can see being an excuse, but it is kind of weird. Whatever.
Sure.
Well, the one thing I appreciated about this story is that we did revisit these characters from the displaced Archaeologians, but we only saw 2 of them, and I love that. I love that because that means the 2 of them had time to breathe and do things.
I agree.
It was great. Loved it. I felt more like, hey, these were actual characters. I appreciate that the freedom fighters go around and they meet other people who are willing to join the resistance. Now, I don't like when they're branded and trademarked. We've talked about this before. When they're branded and trademarked as, Down Under freedom fighters or Arctic freedom fighters or whatever, or 40 Fathoms freedom fighters. I think they can come up with unique names, right? Like the People's Arctic Front or something like that. Like, that's cool. That's nice. But anyway, the fact that the story gave these 2
Path,
yes.
Yeah, Path.
And then they would get into infighting with the front for the Arctic people, right? Something like that.
And then as they're fighting, then Robotnik takes over.
Yeah, that'd be a cool story. That'd be a genuinely cool and sadly realistic story. Timeless story. But in terms of what we're seeing in front of us, that's at least nice that we get to see these 2 characters be a little more. We get a whole page where Celia is talking, or a couple pages where Celia is talking to Rotor, and she is her own character. It's not a particularly deep conversation, but she gets to do her own thing. And then, of course, we get the polar bear, Augustus, and not as much characterization, but there is some characterization. He's a little grumpy. He doesn't trust Rotor, right? This is remarkably refreshing. It's not that great, but it's remarkably refreshing for this comic.
Yeah, I not much to say other than I'm actually in agreement. That is,
yeah. I'm kind of sorry if I'm doing a lot of the talking and heavy lifting here. I figured you were tired, but
I am very tired.
Yeah, but I appreciate Nick. I appreciate you. Yes.
I do like the implication that there are Trojans at one point.
Yes, I didn't think about that
because Robotnik immediately knew that it was a Trojan horse. And they called it Trojans or something. I think the word of Trojans was used.
Frozen Trojan.
Because my phone died, so I can't look at the comic anymore.
They say frozen Trojans. That's what they say. They didn't need to do a horse. They could have done literally any sculpture or statue, but they did the horse
or they could just done a giant present and been like, this present's for Robotnik.
Correct. And still made the Trojan reference. And to me, this just, and it's not particularly deep or on the nose, but I'm implying that it implies that there is like a horse society that did the Trojan thing.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny.
Pretty cool.
Like, would the horses stand or would the horses be on all fours?
Oh, they're on 2. They're on 2.
They're bipedal? Okay.
Yeah, they're bipedal. That's the sign of intelligence, I think.
Oh, you're right.
In this world,
because Mutsky's on all fours. Yes.
Yep, and he's dumb. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yes, I concur. All right, this issue was kind of whack.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to say. Like, it was just fine.
We get Mutsky. That's the big thing.
Looney Tune
That's the important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and a weird distrust of Uncle Chuck now. So,
I don't even know if that was. I hope that was the implication. If not, that sucks.
I don't think it was the implication. I
don't think so either. Like, that's just bad storytelling.
Yeah. You want to grab your guitar?
Go. Now it's time for Sonicgrams. You can write to Sonicgrams. Oh yeah, it's a legally distinct Sonicgrams. It's an unaffiliated Sonicgrams. We made our own Sonicgrams.
All right, we're only gonna read one email today. We got another one in the chamber though. We'll read that one next week. This one is from our pal Speed Boom.
Speed Boom.
All right. Written after episode 42, but as a response to episodes 32 to 37. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, I am back. And then so he actually just goes through and he's just like, I'm just going to talk about these episodes one by one in a short little burst.
Shit.
So
should we do that or?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I
Okay.
wouldn't.
I'm not against it. It'll be very disorienting for other people.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
GTF 33. I think he's specifically talking to me. I expressed, so you expressed confusion on whether Knuckles was flying. Sorry. There was confusion expressed on whether Knuckles was flying, considering he went from the ground to suddenly super high up in the air. I've always kind of thought of it like Hulk super jump, and then from that height, he just glides from there. I don't think the flying is self-propelled, but rather gliding up and down with wind currents. So that's an interesting theory. And then he throws in that Nick is 100% correct. I just want to put this on the record that the monster at the end of the book is a great kid's book. GTF 34. Did you have any comments on that?
No, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. GTF 34. You said that the Arctic freedom fighters left no impact, and I completely agree. You know why? Because I straight up do not remember them being in this comic. I know I've read this, but nearly this whole issue felt completely foreign to me. Good. I got good news for you. Speed Boom, they come back.
I think he knows that by now.
I assume that's the last time we see him too. GTF 35. At one point in this issue, it is assumed that Knuckles is gliding with the use of his dreadlocks. This was a Ken Pender's idea, but it's actually something that dates back to Knuckles' creation. When he glides in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you can actually see his dreadlocks fan out and up. See his dreadlocks fan up a little bit because they're catching air almost like a parachute. So, okay. The thing with Knack the Weasel is that his different names have recently been confirmed to be different aliases. A theory I've had for years, by the way.
I like that.
However, my interpretation was always that Knack the Weasel was his real name and Fang the Sniper was his alias. As it turns out, both Knack the Weasel and Fang the Sniper are aliases, and Fang the Hunter identity is his true name. Yes, Fang the Sniper is an alias. Yeah.
They had to change from Sniper to Hunter because it's more family friendly. I get that. I understand it.
I agree 1,000%. That I think 100% the reason. I
think Knack the Weasel would be. I'm just speculating, but Knack sounds like more of a real name. It's the name. It's like Henry Jones Jr. And then like, oh, okay. My real name is Indiana Jones, or rather, it's Fang the Sniper. That's my real name. That's a cool name.
Then he makes a comment saying that your Vector voice sounded like Vector being electrocuted, which I think is a compliment.
Okay.
He specifically said no offense, but I was like,
that's fine. No, I know that's fine. That, out of all the names, that one is one of the most off kilter from the actual voice.
GTF's 36 and 37. So the pair of issues we covered in that episode with Sonic, the Sonic brainwash plot is very similar to episode 16 of the Saturday Morning Sat-M, which premiered 10 months earlier to that issue's release. Issue 27's title, Saturday Night's All Right for a Fight, is an obvious reference to Elton John's 1973 Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. The song also has a Nickelback cover that is featured in the Spider-Man 3D animation video by 3D Fantast. Which is how I knew the song exclusively until 2024, when the original Elton John version made its way into episode 6 of the Paramount Plus Knuckles series. So the song eventually looped back into the series nearly 30 years later. I love that. Is so fucking insane to me that there's a Nickelback cover of Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and that's your like original version of this. I'm so curious. So I have a theory that a lot of times I don't know if I said this on the podcast. I was literally just talking about this with someone recently. I have a theory that like the first time you hear a song that's the version you kind of enjoy the most, and then any other versions you hear later, even if it's like the true original or something, you're just like, yeah, it's good, I like it. I always think too, so I'm not a Nirvana fan really, but there were 2 songs I really enjoyed off of his MTV Unplugged album. I don't know if you know that offhand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, and the 2 songs that I really liked, hated everything else, was Where Did You Sleep Last Night and The Man Who Sold the World, which Where Did You Sleep Last Night I think is a cover of a song by a very old blues musician. I want to say Mudbelly or Leadbelly, something along those lines. That's probably
it, because that sounds right.
And then The Man Who Sold the World is a David Bowie cover. And to this day, I still prefer the MTV Uncovered Nirvana versions of those songs to the original. And I always think it's just because that's the first version I heard. So to me, that those are the versions that like really had weight to them. I could be wrong. So actually, you know how we could defeat this? Speed Boom, right? I need to know which version of Saturday Night Is All Right for Fighting is which version you enjoy.
I understand that. I think for most people, it is very much the same because it's associated with a certain point in their life. It's associated with a certain memory, especially. Well, hopefully a good one, but that's the one that usually sticks with them the most. I know as a jazz fan, I've like the cover in pop music and rock music, covers are common, but they're not that common. In jazz, you make your bones off of doing covers. You can do your own stuff, but it's like, oh, this is a jazz standard that literally has been done millions and millions and millions of times before, right? Even like Paul McCartney's Yesterday, right? That's like the most covered song of all time, according to many metrics. Even then, that's like the same amount of cover that has been done by jazz musicians who do jazz standards, because that's literally what they do the whole time. Yeah. So the point I'm getting at is that I have adjusted my head to be like, okay, when I hear a new jazz standard, I explore that and I find a million different versions. So I'm a little less in tune to that. But when I associate it with a memory, it sticks out in my mind a lot more. So I get that. I understand that. You were laughing earlier.
Yeah, I was. We're not reading it, but I read the next email in our chamber, and they had a very funny intro that I liked.
Okay,
so
we'll continue with this one.
Well, no, that was it. We finished the email. So, anything you want to call out right now? Anything you want to talk about?
No, that was it.
That's the issue. Only, I honestly, I just guessed where we're at. I'm going to sit down and count it out. Only 382 left to go. I'm Nick. I stream at twitch.tv/Mojosaurus, and my personal blue sky is at Mojosaurus.
And I'm Dominic. You can follow my jazz and people power adventures in Chicago at Blue Collar Jazz. That hate group just came back to the western suburbs. So I did a second article on it. You can check that out. And they're pick-me fascists. They're pick-me Karen fascists. They're trying to get Trump's attention. Anyway, you can also follow me on Blue Sky at Domguan. Not as much activity on there. I'm not getting as much engagement on there. It's not a obviously audience problem. I'm just saying in general, I don't know if people are coming back to Twitter or something like that, or maybe people are just like, I'm done with social media. No. It's like, are people going?
That's gotcha.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I just know that Instagram seems to be the consistent one, which is fine. That's where all the musicians are. So,
you can follow us on socials. I Gotta Talk Fast. TikTok is Gotta Talk Faster. We also have a video version of the podcast where you can follow along with our panels and watch our handsome faces. You can write into the show at Sonicgrams at GottaTalkFast.com. Ask us questions, provide corrections, and give us your opinion on this week's issue. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And remember, when life keeps going fast, you gotta talk fast and just get through it. I love you.
Gotta talk.
Gotta Talk Fast was written by Nick Folkerts and edited by Dominic Guanzon. Intro and outro themes recorded by Dominic Guanzon. Gotta Go Fast originally composed by Norman J. Grossfeld, Joseph Garrity, and Russell Velasquez.
Gotta talk, gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk, gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk, gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast.